Hello, world. Welcome to our show, JW Raw with M&M, coming to you live from the world-famous Jackson Week MMA Academy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, USA. Yes, we are in USA, Albuquerque. This is Mark, and I'd like to give a shout-out to our awesome partners that help us keep the show on the air and keep bringing you some interesting guests from different walks of life. Our fighters and athletes are constantly on the lookout for products that will provide a legal performance edge. Legal performance edge, yes. A couple years back, we came across a nutraceutical company that has an incredible technology. Since then, many of the fighters who train at Jackson Wink MMA Academy have been using their products with astounding success. Unlike most sports performance companies, this company began selling their products through doctors. Their unique technologies help the body heal and maintain exceptional health. For this reason, their products are recommended by doctors worldwide. Yes, worldwide. So how does this translate to sports performance? The truth is, you will never be stronger than you are healthy. How many times have we heard of star athletes who miss a big competition because they're out sick? The same technology that is used to boost the immune system and to detoxify, nourish, and rejuvenate the body is the same technology that boosts strength, endurance, and even cuts unwanted body fat, because we don't want to get fat. We are pumped to finally let you know about our best-kept secret here at Jackson Wink MMA Academy. The company is called RNA Sport. You can find them online at rnasport.com. Again, rnasport.com. Look them up. RNA Sport creates incredible sports performance formulas for elite athletes. Our fighters use and love these products. One of the most important things to know about RNA Sport formulas is their ease of use. It's very easy to use, yes. No more messy powders or hard-to-swallow pills. RNA Sport formulas are delivered directly into the body in a simple-to-take, great-tasting sprays. With high absorption, RNA Sport formulas can be taken immediately before a workout or competition with no lag time. RNA Sport formulas support increased strength and endurance, reduced joint and muscle fatigue, improved recovery, a healthy immune system, optimized metabolism, and a whole lot more. RNA Sport provides benefits and technology unlike any performance products you have ever experienced. I highly recommend you to check out rnasport.com and use their products. They will take your performance to the next level. In our next podcast, we will review the amazing benefits of their specific formulas. JW Raw is happy to also have Fireteam Fit as a longtime sponsor. They are a veteran-owned fitness company that is now partnered with the greatest gym in the world, Jackson Wink MMA Academy. Fireteam Fit is giving a special offer of 15% off. That is right, 15% off all their products, all of them. Go check it out, all their products. All you have to do is enter a code. The secret code is JWRAW015. Again, JW Raw, just like the show, 015. Enter that secret code. You're going to get 15% off everything you buy. Make sure you do that at checkout, and then you'll get that discount. We love having Fireteam Fit as a sponsor since they are family and veteran-owned. That is so cool. We love our veterans. We love our family. Both in one big, happy group. We're happy to have them. It's available on both fireteamfit.com and on amazon.com. Everyone knows how to find Amazon. If you're on Amazon, you're legit. You can go find them on Amazon or check out their website, fireteamfit.com. But don't forget to enter that coupon code. Remember, use JWRAW015.
You're listening to JW Raw with M&M.
We are live.
Welcome to the show, Marc Entenberg, pro fighter, Jackson Wink. What's up?
Not too much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Looking good, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, feeling good.
You just fought.
Yep.
In Thailand.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I was there for a little over a month. I was staying at Lana Muay Thai in Chiang Mai. And I fought the...
Bring that mic just a little bit closer to you. Sorry, man.
I fought, let's see, I think it was the 30th, and got a second-round knockout at Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium.
In front of all those people just
Yeah, it was,
rooting for the home guy.
yeah, no, and to be honest, like there's a lot of tourists that are there, so there's a lot of support for me being American, and you know, it was really good. Didn't feel like any sort of like hostility from the crowd. You know, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, on both sides, there's always going to be people that you just look at and want to lose, and there's going to be someone you want to win, and so I mean, it was a lot of fun though.
That's your second fight in Thailand.
Yeah.
The other guy was Thai too?
Yep, they're both.
So
Thai.
you literally knocked out two
Thai guys.
Two Thai
Yeah,
guys
the first
in their sport.
Yeah, I mean,
That's crazy.
it was a lot of fun, and you know, I think there's so many different levels in terms of like skill levels. So I mean, something that's pro there, not necessarily is going to be pro here, you know. But I mean, the first fight, I mean, it's hard to say if it was like an actual knockout. I didn't feel like I hit him that hard. I mean, he went down in a similar way. But I mean, hey, the way I see it is, if you can hit someone and make them quit, it's just as good. You know, it's a win's a win.
Well,
and
you got double.
yeah, because that one was in the third round, and that one I was definitely a bit more nervous for, because you don't really know who you're fighting until day of. I mean, once you go higher level, especially if you're in like Phuket or Bangkok or these other stadiums, they'll have more of like a setup fight where you know who you're fighting, and just kind of like how it is here. But in these situations, I kind of just they take your weight, they find someone who's similar as close as they can, and then you just kind of go for it that night.
So we got a clip. We're going to play it right now. Stand by. It's a very passionate Thai being screamed out.
Yeah, I had a great group of people there. I mean, the gym is phenomenal that I'm at, and the people are super supportive, and it was awesome.
This was the craziest freaking
Yeah,
delayed.
He kind of looked at
fall.
you for a little while.
Yeah, no, I felt it was super interesting, because in the first round he came out really heavy with leg kicks. Obviously, he was a bit more, I mean,
There you go.
you could say kind of out of shape than me, but he was still a pretty big guy. I mean, threw some really big leg kicks at me. Tore my quad is actually torn, so I've definitely felt it. But yeah, I mean, I threw the same head kick in the first round when he was going around the corner, and he caught it and then threw me over the top rope like Royal Rumble style. And then so I kind of figured that maybe I'd be able to get it in the second. It was actually the first fight that I felt super comfortable throwing high kicks. For some reason, I mean, I'm a tall guy for the weight classes that I'm in, and I've never gotten someone that's really significantly shorter than me, so I've never really use that to my advantage, the reach. But so it was a lot of fun being able to do it in this time.
What are you fighting at?
So MMA, the plan is to go to 45. I fought, I think the MMA fight I had here was catch weight at 160. But my kickboxing fights, I've had one at welterweight, one at 152. This one was 158, so 72 kilograms. And then I'm trying to think, the other one I think was 160.
You got that reputation around here that you'll fight anybody. I mean, you've stepped up to do some short notice stuff.
I tried, you know. I mean, it's hard to say that I mean, at the time, I'd like to say that I would, you know. I mean, definitely, there's so many good people around here, you know. And I think for here, I mean, I still look at myself as a beginner. I mean, I've only been really striking for 3 years. I mean, I've gotten into the combat sports before that. But I mean, there's just such talent here that, I mean, and I've gotten really lucky with the people I get to work with. So I'd like to definitely take some more fights. And yeah, I mean, it's almost like there's that pressure that when those short notice fights come up on the page, that you kind of just, if you get a message from one of the promoters or from one of the coaches, you're kind of just, even if you don't want to, you're just kind of like, you kind of feel like you have to, you know. So hopefully I'll be able to set up some this year and get back to it.
Yeah, it's hard to come by, man, with fights and stuff.
Yeah,
you know, with everyone always like offering and looking for fights.
Yeah, because there was that one last year that I tried, but I wasn't even.
We actually talked you out of it.
Yeah, we talked.
Yeah,
I remember that was an emotional time.
Yeah, well, there's that one, but then there was the one when I was in Providence for 6 months doing an internship, and then Matt ended up fighting him. But I messaged you because I was coming back to visit Clay, because Clay was supposed to fight that weekend, and the guy accepted the fight, and then he declined the fight. Then Zarab tried to fight him. Then he said no. And then he kind of had this choice of people he could fight, and ended up picking someone else. But yeah, and it's always, I always wonder, like, there's always that what if factor, you know, and who knows. But I think the more, like, especially with this one, because this fight, I actually, when I went down there, I was gonna fight, and then I wasn't gonna fight, just because I was like, I had some personal stuff going on, just that I was dealing with when I was here. And I was about a week and a half, 2 weeks in, and they'd asked me if I was going to fight, and they were going to put me on next week. And at first I was like, yes. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe it'll be better if I just focus on my skill set and not put that much pressure on myself. And then I noticed that I did that. I told them, like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then, like, the next night I couldn't sleep, because it's like either way you can't, because you have that nerves of doing it, and then you have that pressure if you don't do it. Like, there's that what if in your mind. So then I went back and I asked again, and this time they were like super tentative, like, oh, well, you changed your mind at first. And so they really kind of put me through the ringer, and like the training was super, super hard for the remainder of that time, but I never felt better. Like, it was probably the best decision I made to actually follow through. I talked with one of my coaches in New York, Greg Walsh out of Wolf Brigade, and he really had a good talk with me about getting back into it, and talked with Clay and some of my support here, and they were all, you know, like, go for it. And then I got food poisoning the week of. So I was literally like to the wire that day. I'd gotten an IV like 2 days before, and someone recommended take some Imodium, and I felt better. So we went for it that night, and it was great. It played off.
So where are you from originally?
I'm from Rochester, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And what brought you to Albuquerque?
So I mean, at the time when I came here, it was 2016. There wasn't an amateur program yet. I always wanted to kind of pursue MMA. I just kind of picked up Muay Thai striking on a lower level at home, and I saw my original plan was I was going to message, because you have to fill out your credentials. I'd wrestled a little bit in high school. Wasn't like I didn't excel in wrestling, and then I did some grappling a few years before and competed at like Grappler's Quest and some stuff like that. And I sent an inquiry in thinking that I was going to get a response saying, like, you don't have what you need right now, but do this, 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 and this, and then you can come. But I ended up getting a response that was actually from Misha, and it said, you can be on a trial. You can come and see if it works out, and that's kind of how it was, because there wasn't really an amateur program. When I came, there was very few people that had not fought before. I think it was me and one other person, Donnie, it was actually in my dorm room. So, I mean, I'd been an MMA fan since I was a kid. I mean, easily middle school, maybe even younger. So I mean, when the opportunity came, I went and told my coach in New York. He's like, yes, go, like, absolutely. And I was coming for 2 months, and then I was going to go to Thailand after that. And then I came and made the decision about a month and a half, 2 months in, that I just wasn't going to go back. So,
and here you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of the greatest gym in the world.
Yeah.
That gave you that chance with our puppy mill.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I feel like I definitely had a different path than a lot of the people here. You know, I think for me, it was different than kind of the standard. I mean, there's definitely that team aspect and the group of guys that are here, but I've kind of secluded in the way of broken down, like, different people I work with. There's so many different resources here that you can gain so many skill set. Because at the time, I was definitely, and like I said, even now, I'm still a beginner and learning everything, you know. But then I remember that I was so nervous because I was just getting destroyed in sparring all the time. So there was no amateur. So, and back then there was really the dorms were empty. There was super packed dorm every morning. The dorms were empty. So if you weren't training, there was something wrong. Yes. Like, there was no one in there. There was a ton of Polish people at the time. The Indian program was here. So I remember I couldn't sleep because I was so nervous about going to sparring every day, because it was like, I mean, you can't not go. And I was just getting dropped every day, mostly with body shots. I mean, people were really nice to me, but I just wasn't up to par with the pro program at the time. So luckily, I made some really good connections. I mean, my roommate Clay's been great. I mean, I worked with Frank a lot. Joey I worked with back then. And then, you know, so it was kind of, the rest was just kind of sticking with it. And then after my first fight, the amateur program came out. But I remember when I first got here, it was one of like the most intimidating things ever. I mean, I'll never forget some of the wrestling practices that we had. It was when Bones was getting ready for, I think, 200. Diego was getting ready for 200. Holly was getting ready. It was a big group at the time. But yeah, I'll never forget that anxiety. Actually, Mitch Clark, who was here at the time, gave me this app that like puts brain waves with music so it could help me sleep, because I was like up at like 3 a.m, just like, oh, like, I can't sleep. I'm gonna get destroyed tomorrow.
Probably saw you and said, "Why are you falling asleep, man?"
Yeah.
And you know, it's crazy coming back to that puppy mill thing. It's so funny, man, because it's funny how people just pick something up and just roll.
We're gonna talk about it.
Every team and every major big team
Yeah.
has tons of people and a lot of amateurs. Henry Hooft the other day posted a highlight of one of his amateur guys like knocking somebody out, and he said, well, we're happy to announce an amateur MMA program.
Right.
So
So I think that there's interesting points to it. So I mean, the puppy mill thing. I mean, like the word. I mean, it's a weird term for sure. I think the thing that gets hard, and I think like on the pro level that there's a high level of pros. I think that there's just so many people that everyone has a different path in it, is what I mean. Like for me, I kind of separated from the amateur team at the time just because it was so big, you know. And I mean, with sparring, everyone has a different way of doing it. For instance, with me, I was having a lot of difficulty finding the right partners just because there's so many people on all different levels. Some people are swinging for the fences all the time, and there's sometimes that there's use for that and there's not. But I think what happened with me, and I think a lot of people do this, is they kind of have their core group of people that they work with.
That's how it is. It's like that's, if you look at it, that's exactly. It's not that the team is broken into smaller teams, but yeah, you build yourself around the people that you want to be with, and then you learn the most, like you and Clay and some other guys.
Some guys like to go hard all day.
You know, some people like Clay's a tremendous striker, so you know, very fluid and stuff. So you train with him, and you guys friends, and then there's other guys, a bunch of grapplers over there doing whatever they're doing. You know, it's like
definitely
it's we still it's a one big family, man. And then I think to call you guys puppies is like freaking it's offensive, because every fighter that's fighting profession right now one day was a puppy that fucking had to start somewhere and freaking train. So
for sure,
to fucking call someone a bunch of puppies, up and coming fighters, is disrespectful to the sport of mixed martial arts, period.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand the terminology is definitely not choice by any means. I think it's
I would say wolves in training, man.
Yeah, you know, I think it just depends on how it's interpreted. I mean, I think the term definitely isn't good, but I think this is what I will say that I can understand, and it's that it has changed and it has evolved. Like you look at things like way back when, right, where it was an invite-only gym, and just follow me on this, and then it got bigger, the gym got bigger, and then the amateur program came in, so I can see how it appears different, because now it's going the other way too. Like if you look at what TJ Dillashaw is doing and some of these other gyms where they're having these invite-only gyms, I'm not saying there's not a place for having big gyms. I mean, like you said, everyone has to start somewhere. But I can see how there's that confusion of where it started out this way and you get so used to it this way, and then it changes, and then you're seeing more and more faces every day, because like I mean, you said, we get so many people and so many amateurs that come in. I mean, I was one of them, you know, without a doubt. You know, I think it just depends on, you know, how the team's doing.
You have, but you have to realize that these amateurs are separate from the pros. It's not like that perception of Holly Holmes sparring with some dude off the street. It's fucking it's garbage, man.
There were some flat out lies.
It's like flat out lies, man. I think. Sure. On the own risk.
$50
on the own risk.
And
it's like we have one of the best amateur programs in the world, man. We won, you know, with the top in the country, man.
You guys had
last year,
the Predators, you know, and all that.
Yeah, we won that, you know, and all our amateurs dominate, man. Like people don't know the stats, man. And I keep a record of every single fight. We are literally this year 80% winning ratio of 130 some fights. People don't know that, you know, because they don't see that, you know, and they know, you know, just if someone said it must be true. It's like there's so many lies out there that people just completely oblivious to, and like they just regurgitate the same garbage that's been spat out there. You
and
know,
I think the worst point is, like you're saying, is it's mostly the hardest thing is the people who aren't really training, and then there's those links that just fans kind of just reshare over and over again, that like they don't really have that perspective. I think it's a different opinion when it's someone who's in the gym. I mean, like I said, I mean, the way to kind of put it that way as like a puppy mill. I mean, obviously, in no way is that like a respectful thing to say. I get that 100%. I think there's just choices that get made that I think you have to. It just depends on how you want to train, you know, and who you want to train with, you know. And I think it's a shame how that hostile situation kind of occurred, you know, because I mean, I've from who doesn't watch Cowboy Cerrone, you know, and know where he's from, you know. It's the same with a lot of the gyms here. That was the draw, you know. It's like best gym in the world has these fighters, you know, so a lot of people come here. So
it's crazy about like and people forget that American Top Team, aka Syndicate, they have gazillion of fighters in the same weight classes, potentially going to fight each other or fight each other to begin with, right? Because it happens in every single gym that fighters either for the belt or not for the belt and things like that. They always always situations like that arise, and many people say that, oh, you know, like we matchmakers, we don't make like whenever a fighter comes to the team, who is stupid enough to refuse a high level UFC fighter, let's say like Mike Perry, and tell him, no, you can't train here? You think he's going to go to ATT and they're going to tell him, oh, no, sorry, we have like 10 other guys in your weight class that you could potentially fight?
Well,
What the fuck is that?
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I hear
like,
you on that.
This is a business too, man, and then everything can be worked out. Everything can be worked out. It's just certain individuals decide not to work it out.
So that's
you know. And if you have a problem with one person, say in that regard, you can deal with that one person. Why try to hurt so many other people?
And I get that for sure. And I think that what you're saying with it being a business makes total sense. I think the thing that makes it a hard thing is that if you break it down for what it is that for someone like Cowboy who's been here for so long, it can be looked at in a different way of that. How can the coaches that are going to be cornering you train someone to beat you? Because that's where it gets kind of tricky. Because that's the thing is I remember when Overeem and Arlovsky fought, like there was no reconciliation after that. Like they weren't cool after that. Well, and obviously it depends on the situation.
But it depends on people too. Alistair
Right.
wanted to be cool. Andre's just not
for
cool
sure.
to
But
begin
there's,
with anyway.
right, and there's
So Andre is
and
just
there's
like-
going to be those situations, and I think that's where it gets
Especially
tricky
because you're lost.
because yeah, Perry absolutely is an up and coming people, and you know there's benefits for coaches like Frank, you know, who can showcase his skills with Perry and they can work on it. I think it's just tough when you know you start here and you worked with these coaches, and obviously he worked more with Coach Jackson, but at the same time it's hard when you're seeing someone new come in and they're able to work with the people that know your skill set, that they help train you, and those skill sets are going to be taught to that other person. So I mean, I can see why it would be
I understand
hard.
he was upset. I understand,
Sure,
but
yeah.
the way it was handled is not right.
Yeah,
it's not right.
Going on a podcast is, I mean, yeah, it's weird, and I mean, calling it a puppy mill. Obviously, I think everyone who's here wishes that it got settled between.
On Cowboy,
with that
Cowboy didn't call this place the pup. The term didn't start with him. He didn't. I mean, the term's been kind of floating around for a while.
Yeah.
He just regurgitated what was kind of out there that people were relating to. But Cowboy also invited Perry to his ranch.
Right.
So.
But
he put him in that circle.
And I think that's
he put him
thing.
into the mix of things, and people get it all mixed
Yeah,
up.
And to begin with, that people don't know, we didn't make the matchup. They did not consult with coaches. It was apparently, from what I understand, it happened before even Wink and Greg knew about it. It just like they agreed, and I agreed.
Frank tweeted it one day.
It was like on the text message that we're fine. So it's like
there was gonna be a short notice one first, but then Cowboys, I think his hand,
his eye was messed up.
Yeah, or his arm was broken from the Leon Edwards fight, something like that.
Yeah.
But and I mean I agree. If it's so hard because no one really knows the exact. I mean, they've said kind of different things of how it got worked together. I think just the only thing I can speak to is that if it was me and I had been training here, and then someone had come in, even if they were an up and comer, there would have to be discussion of I'm going to train here with these people, and they have to train somewhere else in the meantime, or I'm going to go somewhere else. And the thing is either way, there's going to look like there's a breach of loyalty.
Well,
it's a hard
we can speak to
Yeah.
that a little bit because, like, someone like Diego Sanchez, who's here every single day. You've seen him.
Yeah.
Every single he says this. He treats this like a 9-to-5 job.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Cowboy only comes around for a camp, and when it's a camp,
Right.
no, not for a camp. It comes once a camp.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
one time per camp, and it's to spar.
Right.
He'll come on a Thursday for sparring day. So for the past year, we saw him twice, maybe.
Yeah.
But
now the thing is, yeah. Go
so
ahead.
do we treat Cowboy like we would treat a Diego, or it's I don't know, and that's where the coaches have to figure this out. I mean, they're both Team Jackson Wink,
Right.
but someone that's here every single day, I mean, obviously you're going to say, all right, you know, you're here every single day. Cowboy only comes. He's already built his whole other fortress and place out there. Where are his loyalties exactly?
Yeah, and I think to speak to that is a good point, and I think it also depends on your version of loyalty. Like, for instance, with me, like, I'll speak in like a friendship situation, right? Sorry. So I have some friends in my life that I've
Just pull it.
Yeah.
Just pull that thing forward.
Like here?
Pull it out towards
here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So, like, I have some friends that,
awesome.
Especially since I moved, that are my best friends for life, right? And I mean, like, you could call it brothers, right? So, even though we've gone separate ways, and I see them from time to time.
You don't have to hold it.
Oh, perfect. that brotherhood and that loyalty is forever. That I know that even if they get new friends, new people in their life, like, our relationship will always be that way. So if I call them, I know that they're going to answer. And I think that in a way, that's how it can kind of be interpreted. Like, yes, Cowboys' attendance might have not been every day, but the relationship is forever.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it hard. Because, I mean, I'm sure everyone has those people in their life that there's someone you can call that you've known for a long time. Maybe you've gone different paths and don't see them as frequently, but you can't erase that relationship you had. And I think that that might be what he's kind of speaking to is, yeah, Diego is here every day, and that's a choice he made, and Cowboy has the BMF ranch and does his thing elsewhere. But at the end of the day, he still uses Coach Jackson. He had a lot of sparring partners here, and a lot of people went back and forth. And I think there was some business and logistical issues with that. But at the same time,
you have to still somehow uphold that loyalty on your side as well.
Right.
So if we always promoting you, always open to you, always doing things like that, taking care of you whichever way we can, right? I mean, it has to be, even though it's a distant relationship or whatever, you're doing your own thing, you still have to kind of give something back, right?
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
And it's tough because, and I agree 100% with what you're saying, and it's kind of, there's so many reasons that can go on both sides, because one could say him doing the performance ranch was something that was good for our gym, and anytime he wins, it makes our gym look good. It'll always be, if he won, Jackson Wink won. Yes, we promoted him, but him doing that work, whether it was here or BMF ranch, it would make us look good, because he's always one of our fighters.
And vice versa.
Right. So I think there still was that trade-off, and I think it's hard because I understand what you're saying in that point of Diego. Like, yes, Diego's here every day, and that kind of work ethic shows one thing, but then there's always that other side of that relationship with Coach Jackson, and him being one of the originals. In my mind, just that loyalty should always be there. I'm not saying by any means.
It's like if Diego is here helping all the amateurs,
right,
helping all the puppies, building the next generation, passing all the trades, passing all the knowledge,
sure,
doing all these things, right, for all these fighters, sharing everything you can possibly share, uplifts them, promotes them, does all these crazy things, you know.
Sure.
So and then on the opposite side of it is that situation, you know. So how's that normal?
When you're a brand new fighter,
I don't think it's normal, you know. It's like, especially, you know, when a lot of these fighters that are trained here go over there,
right,
you know, and train with Cowboy over there,
right.
So those are the same puppies that were training here.
Sure, and that makes total sense.
It's like
hypothetical situation then, just out of curiosity. So then, let's say this. So Jones, obviously, I mean, best of all time, right? If he's been dealing with different things going on lately, let's say, and he hasn't been in as much due to those things, he has been coming in, and I mean, when he's getting ready for camp, he's here all the time. Just in a hypothetical world, say Alexander Gustafsson wanted to come here and train and was going to pay the money, would that be a possibility if they were going to fight each other in the next fight?
See, that's something that has to be sit down with coaches and talked over.
But right away
you got to understand, that wasn't the case with Perry and Cowboy. Perry didn't come here when he was about to fight Cowboy. He came here to fight someone else.
So that is a good point.
So it was so you kind of made that sound like you made it sound like that's but so we have to clarify
it's
that.
already rivals. They already fought, and it's already history behind.
Right.
So
even someone else, not Gustafsson, but just someone in the division.
So we have Tyson Pedro come here train. We have guys.
We have
guys at 205.
I can't see any of those people training here. Like at the time, if they were going to fight him, I just can't see that there would be a possibility where they would be able to train here at the same time.
Well, the Andre Overeem thing was a perfect example. They were training here at the same exact time.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a very touchy situation that if you want it, you can make it work.
Right.
If you decide not to make it work and go berserk about it, then that's on you, really. So, I mean, I don't know. I have many more things I could say, but
I hear you. And it's tough on both sides, and like I said, you guys being in the position here know more information than me, you know. And to be honest, I'm not particularly close with. I mean, I barely know Cowboy and I barely know Perry. You know, I mean,
it's one of those things that people like jumping on Coach Wink and talking bad things about him. This is one of the most honorable men in the business, man, and everyone knows him. Okay, so the man that built a fortress like this, you know, and him and Greg built something this huge, and you know, and give platform to so many great fighters and so many. It's a historical place at this point, you know.
Yeah.
So to talk about Coach Wink like this is the most disrespectful thing ever, you know. Just for simple fact is that the man has to make some very hard decisions, man,
Yeah.
and a lot of people to take care of. We have hundreds of fighters that constantly need help and need assistance and this and that we constantly try to help and build up and the best way we can, you know.
Right.
Yeah, the coolest thing I saw ever was a live stream. Like, it was a crappy vertical video of some amateur or up and comer, and you're like, is that Coach Wink? That is Coach Wink.
Yeah.
Like, he went to Middleville, USA to corner a guy.
He flies around the world, and him and Greg
Weekly,
sometimes
yeah.
for pennies,
Yeah.
literally just to help, or sometimes spending his own money to help fighters. How do you think he built that business? Like, a lot
Yeah.
of people don't know. When Holly was coming up in this, they paid out of their own pocket.
Right.
You know, so now everyone, and then now you get to be as big as this, and you invested so much time and your energy. That's all, his whole life. He was traveling I don't even know how he does it.
Right.
You know, every weekend he like leaves on Friday, back on Sunday, like cross country somewhere in Australia, boom boom, in and out.
Right.
You know, and then but it didn't just happen overnight. It was years and years of spending your money, your own energy, your own things, you know, to build something like this. Now, when the man is so successful and we are so successful, everyone wants to take you down, which is kind of shows that how pathetic people are. In fairness.
Yeah, I mean, and
It
everybody. I mean, like, I mean, there's always going to be people that are just going to hate to hate. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do it all the time. You know, like, it's a human thing. I mean, and obviously, I'm trying to be better at it. But I mean, there's always like reasons that people are going to hate on stuff. You know, and I think, like you said, I think the hardest thing is that I feel it's a situation that really lies on the upper level of things between Cowboy and the coaches and the upper level, and it's just hard because, in honesty, like, I don't feel like, I don't care if I'm looked at as a puppy or a wolf or a lion. It doesn't matter in the sense of that. I don't feel that if you're working and you're doing your craft and you're focusing on it, it doesn't matter if you're called in a puppy mill or not. It can't be a blanket term for the whole team, and it can't, you know.
It's not.
And
Eventually it's going to
yeah.
fade away, but
It will, and I think
it's still, you know, someone like
Yeah.
who runs a gym and invested in it
Sure.
so much by like
It's
so much
got to be
energy
hurtful.
into it.
Yeah.
It is very hurtful
Yeah.
because like people, it's straight up lies.
Yeah, and I think
There's every argument can be debunked to a point where, but the point is, will the people listen? Do people care?
yeah, and
You
I think
know,
the
they
thing,
don't.
right,
But-
and maybe, like I said, you guys know more of like what is a lie and what is not. But the thing that is interesting is I think that sometimes you do have to look at, is there any validity to some of the things he's saying, and how can those things be fixed? You know, and like, not necessarily just with the Perry situation, but, you know, I think that with every gym, there are issues that are at the gym. You know, there are a lot of people, you know.
I think because of our stature, how big we
Right.
are, people choose to like
Yeah,
so
and,
much
and when
focus
you're
on
here,
it.
you have to work hard. Like, for instance, like
Yeah.
every fight I've gotten on my own, you know, and I'm not taking away, but the thing is and I've never, and don't be wrong, there's extremely talented individuals here, but it's something that you have to work at. You have to reach out to the coaches.
Of course you have
There, and that's what makes it kind of, there's that difference, because there's some places, and it's just a different type of thing, where like every coach knows who's fighting, when they're fighting, has a plan, and it's hard when you have such a big team.
That's
and
true.
I think like that's the thing is no one, I mean, let's see, I mean, I've worked with plenty of different coaches here, and honestly, my skill set has grown by being able to do that. So there's that benefit. There's so many training partners. There's so many different coaches that can help you with your knowledge. But at the same time, you have to be willing to work.
Yeah, you have to be proactive.
Yeah.
It's like any job. You go to organization, right? You get hired, right? You start as a peewee, right?
Right.
You can't just sit there in your freaking cubicle and just stare at the ceiling thinking shit's going to fall in your lap.
And I agree
You
about
have to
that.
be proactive. You have to let coaches know who you are. You have to
Millennials.
let your
But when is there
you
the
have-
point where it switches? Like, for instance, when, like, and it doesn't even have to be me, but when is there going to be a point where they're like, all right, this person has done work, let's try and develop him. Let's try and make him move forward. Let's try and him or her or whoever, but like, he's been here this long, he's put in this many work, he has this many fights. Now it's time that maybe we should actually pull him in and be like, you know what, we've seen that you put in this work, and now let's develop a plan for your moving forward. What are your goals? How are we going to get there? Even if it's once a month or a year, like that would be something that would be important, because the thing is, I agree, you do have to show your stripes, show that you're willing to get fights, do the training and all those things. You know, you have to spend the money to get those privates with coaches, build your skill set, which is all things that you should be doing. But when is there that point where I mean, because there's people that are going to get noticed day one, of course. There's more talented individuals, and that's just how it goes. But there gets a point of almost, there's so many people here that it's really easy that you could be doing this for a long time before you get pulled. I mean, it's not necessarily by Coach Jackson or by whoever, but it's just, it's not. I think back then there was such a talented group of individuals that was so close knit that everyone knew what was going on, and I think it's very tough on a scale this big.
I get it. I get your point.
And I'm not bagging on it. I'm just saying it like, by all means, I think it's great. Like, there's great things, like I said, the training partners, the amount of skill sets. I mean, there's tons of coaches and there's tons of things you can learn. I mean, Gracie's right up the spot. We have great strength and conditioning here. You have sports psychology here. You have elite here. There's all these tools. But the thing that makes it hard is that, how does it get all strung together? And like, you have to navigate.
Trade-off,
right? You have to navigate it.
You think like teams like in Las Vegas that have like 500 fighters, man, just coming through a revolving door because of PFI. You think, I mean the UFC Performance Center. There's this. It's a normal standard. It's a trade-off. You can be part of a small team,
right?
And get what you're looking for, and have someone around you, or the coach nonstop, right? Has 2 pro fighters, or you choose to go to a big team like this and test yourself, and do camps here and hire coaches as professional. If you want to go professional and follow the professional way by hiring coaches, because it's a professional trade, they have to make money too, right? Because in a lot of small teams, it's based on little kids running around, and based on little families, moms and pops coming in doing cardios, and maybe a couple pro fighters that the coach makes no dollar off, so he can dedicate time on you, right? So it's a trade-off. So it's like when you're standing in front of, if you're at that cross line of going pro, like, or you're pro and you want to step up the next level, and you're rolling with Carlos Condit, and you're rolling with Diego Sanchez, and you're rolling with these guys, and you can gauge where you stand, where if you're ready for that next level or not. So what and that's what this kind of camp is built on too. That a lot of guys come from all over the world, where they start as small teams, they build themselves up to a certain extent, and now when they outgrow their team, they're like already at the point where, like, all right, now I got to go test myself and see if I'll be good for that next level. That's why they come here. And amateurs, most of the amateurs here, or even amateurs from the other countries or whatever, they come in, that gives them a platform also to test themselves if they're good enough to go pro. But the most guys that are here locally, and then part of the amateur team, they have a plan, and they constantly work with Joe and Greg. Cooper got plan. You got CJ. You got all these guys. They have plans, and we talk, communicate. You're saying like we don't have plans for all these guys.
No,
we have plans.
No, absolutely.
Just every plan takes. You think to build a career to a decent pro fighter, to become a pro fighter, it requires a lot of fucking fights.
Absolutely,
a lot of amateur fights.
100%.
So,
and I'm not necessarily even talking about myself.
And you've been here a year or 2 years. You know what I'm saying? You will only see this much of change in a fighter, right? Usually, if it's a young fighter, you need probably 5-6 years of just a lot of competition, fighting, grappling tournaments, wrestling tournaments, kickboxing, whatever you can put your hands on to get better before you get to that level. Right. So we've only had the amateur team for 2 years, and we achieved already so many great results. It's one of the best amateur teams in the country by far.
There's a lot of talented amateurs.
So that the amateurs that will give a run for their money to pros, to Carlos, to Diego, and things like that. So there you go. That answers your that kind of debunk to your concern.
I don't know.
Right. So and I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying, like, I think what you're making a valid point. More of what I'm saying is that there's got to be a point, I feel, that, like, the coaching, or however the staff here knows who's here fighting and what their goals are, and if we have to communicate with whomever, but it's more, and it doesn't even have to be myself. To be honest, I kind of do my own thing, and I know, and I do that, and I have no problem with that.
So does John, so does Holly, so does any fighder that you do your own thing.
But there's some people
who
I think
what you're capable of, and you know what you need to do to get to the next level.
Yes,
that makes you a career fighter, that you have your own goals.
Right.
That's why you get all the tools that you can possibly have here, and then you stick with it and you go with it, and then you communicate with the coaches that you think you believe in and that you work with better, you know. So you pull them aside and like, what do you think if I go, go pro? And then we know what you are, bro. I follow. I know every single fighter, what they eat, what they breathe, what they freaking think about.
Right.
For the most part, you know. So and I don't even coach them.
Yeah.
so it's kind of, and trust me, those coaches know and they watch and they see it. It's not going to happen over a year or 2 years.
And I'm really not even referring to myself.
How many fights did you have? Like over since you've
so
been here?
I've been here 2 years. I took 6 months off and I've had 5 fights.
5 fights. That's a lot of fucking fights for 2 years. Just that way you're able to find on your own through the network and through the things like that, right?
And I'm not even referring to myself like
some guys are lazy, man. Like, you don't realize some guys don't even want to move. They just do it just like hoping shit's gonna fall on their lap, which doesn't work. Like, you have to hustle. Like, I can't find any fights. I can't find any fights.
That I agree with.
You know, and then but that's like this everywhere. It's like it's an industry standard thing where it's hard to find fights, and it just either they fall on you or they don't fall on you.
I want to say,
who's gonna hold on one second. Who's gonna dedicate 100% of their time, like managers and things like that, to an amateur that they make zero money off? You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna try to build that up. It's not. The career starts with you.
Agreed. And really, I'm not referring to myself. And I know what you're saying. It's more of, there's some people who have a ton of fights, who have a ton of potential, and I agree, you do have to hustle. The thing is, and I'm not saying that they need 100%. By no means. There's no way. You know, there's so many athletes that are here. It's more of, I feel like there needs to be a process, and I think they're starting to do it now, because they're doing they're doing other practices with Coach Jackson, and I think it's a very good thing where people are almost, I mean, it has to be that way, that they're selected and then pushed. And that's what I'm saying. I think that's how it has to be, you know, because there are so many people.
Yeah, they're doing that. They have a special week.
And I just hope that continues.
Invite only.
Right, and that is a good thing.
Well, and I'll close it with one more thing about that. I mean, the days of the invite only gyms, I think, are dead because there's no money in it. I mean, it's impossible to operate a gym like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have no idea about that.
You gotta think of it from a business standpoint. You're just not going to survive, and it's going to fail miserably. Because,
I mean, the gyms have grown, like you said.
If you think about the evolution of this gym, since 1992, Greg started that movement. Right?
Yeah.
How many teams out there? Think about it. How many teams out there, like they had Lions Den, they had all these big-ass gyms back in the days, right, that no longer exist. And this gym is kicking ass non-stop. For how many years? 26 years and still kicking.
Right.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
That tells you something right there, man.
Right, and I agree. And I think that there is a lot of kick-ass thing. I think the other thing that just needs to be monitored is that there are people that just don't train, that don't fight, that just post our name. But
but it's going to happen like that.
I know, but I feel like there has to be a process where, because I remember you used to come to the dorms and you used to ask people, why aren't you training? And I remember, because that's how that standard was, and it's different now because, you know, I mean, I get there's so many people and your job's hard. I'm not taking anything.
Keep up with everyone.
Of course,
I'm not there to date your mommy, man.
Right, but at the same time, I mean, some people just shouldn't be here, and it's not saying that and it's not necessarily based on their skill level or their work ethic. I mean, excuse me, it is based on their work ethic.
But let me ask you this: what is the percentage of those people? It's 2 or 3 people.
It's got to be more. I mean, I'd say like 5-10%. I mean, I see it all the time.
No, I don't agree with that. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 guys at the slack and then not doing whatever they're supposed to do.
Well, I mean, but those people shouldn't be here.
Let's agree to disagree.
Yeah. So even if it's a low number, I agree with you. Whatever number.
Let's move on from that. Because you're also let's move on from this a little bit, because you're also a coach.
Yeah.
You're a great coach for
Thank you.
Very important program that we have here with the MMA, the adaptive program.
Yeah, it's an awesome program.
Tell us about that. What have you been doing?
Yeah, so we started it. I think because I was gone for a month. I mean, probably about 3-4 months ago.
We got a picture up on the screen there with you and young Cruz.
Yeah. But it's a program we started. We work with all different kids with different disabilities, and it's a really great program. I mean, it helps build confidence, you know, and it gives them like a skill set and something to look forward to every week. Yeah. It's a lot of fun, especially for me, being at the level I'm at, because you get to do lots of fun things with them, and it's like it's like problem solving, because they don't all learn the same. you know. So some people, I was having difficulty with holding both pads up. You know, there's that urge to want to hit both at the same time.
Well,
So
yeah, some only have one arm.
Yeah.
You know, one leg.
Right.
No legs. It's and for
Yeah.
you to have to adapt yourself.
Yeah.
To work with that is fascinating. I mean, this kid obviously he has all his limbs and
Yeah, it's
but
super sweet kid.
There's
Yeah.
some mental issues going on. I think that keeps him from operating fully. But the program allows all these guys to be part of the team.
Yeah.
And coaches like you are doing that, and it's so cool that you're doing that for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, and honestly, I mean, it's a huge takeaway for me. I mean, I feel like you can't have a bad day and work with them and still feel bad after. You know, like it is. I mean, it's an amazing thing you get to do, and you know, their work ethic inspires me. You know, like it just these kids come in. And they have lives just like everyone else. They could be in school, you know, and they have all different kinds of issues that they deal with, and they still work their butts off. And you know, they never complain. None of them. None of them ask for breaks. Like, and sometimes, like, I mean, just how training is. You take a break in between rounds. These kids don't even want breaks.
They don't want a break.
They're ready. Yeah, they're ready to go, and you know, they want to learn. They want to progress, and it's an amazing experience, you know. And I'm just super thrilled I got to be a part of it. Just because it's helped me. Because to be honest, it helps me like with basics. When you train basics and you teach basics, you're able to watch it. Like me, just basic punching, basic kicking. I feel like my things have improved because you can watch their foot placement, you can watch how their hips move, and you're like, oh, now I think about it.
Because when I teach jiu-jitsu, same thing. You teach you teach what you know. You reinforce what you know.
Absolutely.
And it makes your game much better to that extent. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I like teaching to jiu-jitsu, just showing, and I always teach basics.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't need to be a freaking, you know, doing birimbolos and all the things like that, you know, especially when you begin and things like that. Just stick to the basics, man. Basics win fights. And
that's how I feel with myself now from them. Like, honestly, I mean, all I drill now is basics.
That's it.
You know, and like, I
proper
mean,
jab, just
jab, cross. Yeah.
Hey, you want to see something funny? Pull this up, man. Just to laugh at it, bro. Pull this up on Instagram. Rear naked _
Okay.
This is funny.
Talk about something else in the meantime.
So, Mark, how many kids have you coached?
What is that?
What does this say?
Oh no, they're talking personal message.
I was like, damn. Let's see. Worked with
Mark's data.
Instagram.
Let's see. So 1, 2. I think I had 9 at the time before I left. So Clay's been working with a lot of kids. There's a lot of great coaches. I mean, we have a lot of coaches from Wink. Will Santiago's a coach here. Clay's a coach. I know Henry and Daniel from Winks are coaches. Alex is coach. We have a lot of really good coaches. I'm sorry if I left any names out, but I've worked with, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's from Russian.
I think 9. I was working with 9 kids before I left, and some of them are in groups together.
Pull that video.
This one?
Yeah. Look at the comment at the bottom. Somebody just wrote. This is what Cowboy was referring to. Look, click play.
There you go. See, one of the guys that walked in off the street.
I wonder how much he paid, man, for that.
Which, by the way,
it's not our gym, by the way.
Yeah.
But somebody left a comment, I guess. Is that what Cowboy was referring to?
There it is. Okay, this is what Cowboy was referring to about Jackson Wink. Yeah. Well,
dude,
yeah, that's obviously not Jackson Wink.
That's Holly Holmes' training partner.
$50, you can train Holly. You can train with Holly. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen anyone walk off the street and spar with Holly?
No, not off the street.
Or John, or Alistair?
No, I mean, there are some amateurs that get to do it, but you know, they do their best, and you know, and everyone has value, you know. So I mean, but sometimes I think there are some low level people that do get really nervous when they go with the pros. Like I mean, like you turn around and you're in a warm up, and all of a sudden the high level pros there, and you might get a little too excited and want to look good in front of them, and might just go a little too hard. Like I think that does happen, but it's not. I don't think it's out of malintent. I think it's just you want to appear to be good. You know, you want to. So I get that. I mean, that has happened. I mean, won't say with who it was with, but it was when I first got here. I turned around, I was like, oh my god, and then I didn't hit them hard or anything, but I was definitely like trying to keep up with them. You know, trying to move that pace, and obviously, I mean, I stood no chance, but. I definitely was very nervous, you know, because I mean, for a long time, like, I mean, now I've been here for a little while, and you know, that you realize it's just people. But when you first see these people you've only seen on TV, and it's, I mean, that's part of it. But at the same time, like, just seeing them in person is just such a weird thing, you know. So I mean, it's like
me always say, like, if I saw like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something,
right,
I'd be like freaking out.
Yeah. So it's just it's so different. But I mean, it's
but
definitely.
But at the end of the day, I mean, you see our pro practices are structured where, you know, if there's any amateurs in the pro practices, they are allowed to be there.
They're chosen to be there.
They're chosen to be there because they're that freaking good. Like Cooper, for example, you know, it's Division I collegiate wrestler and stuff like that. Of course,
right.
You know, but there's no way, shape, or form that just any guy can go and spar with Holly Holm, any of the high-level pros.
Yep.
By far is a myth.
Yeah, I hate that got said, because that's absolutely not the case. It's never happened, never will happen, and we'll leave it at that. The pro fighters are not in danger of getting injured by anyone walking off the street. Just that was a ridiculous comment that came out of nowhere. But anyway, so you got any fights coming up?
So I'm hoping, I tore my quad a bit. I mean, I can still train a bit. I got some dry needling from Shar yesterday at Elite. I'll be heading back to the Performance Ranch, do some strength and conditioning training this week. But hopefully soon, you know, I'd definitely like to look at fighting here again soon. And like every fight, you know, and I think that, that you gain a little more confidence about picking another one and doing it in a sooner amount of time. You know, and I think working with Doc Shandon here was a huge change for me.
Yeah, we had him on the show the other day.
I'm
going to sit down and talk to him too.
Yeah, you know, I think the best thing, like, I'd never felt so good, like,
mentally.
And it was going in like
he fixed you.
Yeah,
because I know you had some.
I was pretty wild.
He knows how to get in your head.
Well, it's always I think
most fighters, man,
it's always talked about it, you know, and I've noticed. I mean, all different fighters. I mean, I watch tons of different podcasts and stuff, and there's always that point where it's talked about where you can actually kind of be in the real time and throw things you want to throw and be relaxed, you know, and you never really know when it's going to happen. And I think there's always going to be an improvement in that. But in the fights I had prior, like, I mean, I did well, but I didn't really enjoy it as much. You know, I was just kind of like still instinctual. You know, you're still not throwing the combinations that you learn in practice. You're still not trying things that you think will work. But, you know, from the second I got on, and I had a lot of really good support in Thailand as well, and back at home, but the mental practice that I was doing with him played a huge part. Once I got on my way to the stadium, I just was in my zone, and I was getting my hands wrapped like right out in the open, and I was just smiling, having the blast, you know. And the guy who I fought, I mean, he definitely was trying to break my leg for sure, but I was just in like a different zone. Like, I just felt good, and there's always things I wanted to try in fights, but I was too nervous to get in that range, you know, just because it's way different than in sparring, you know. And I always wanted to kind of throw some high kicks and throw some teeps to the face, and I just did them, you know, and they landed, you know. And it was awesome, because now you start to realize, like, okay, you
start to believe in it.
Yeah, and it's like, I can do that. I can, like, I'm more than capable, and you know, you can get in that range and go for it. And of course, every fighter, like, is going to be different, you know, and every person you face is going to be different. But I'm just very excited that I had that experience where it's almost out of body. Like, I just felt so good in there. Like, I felt slow. And I'd never felt that before, where, like, whether, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy it was a knockout, but when I hit him with the head kick, his eyes kind of rolled, but he was still standing, and I was just so amped that I kind of put my hands down in the video, like, let's go. And I was just super excited, like, to keep going. Yeah, you know, and I mean, I got taken off my feet like a few times. Like, I got thrown over the top rope. I took a leg kick that took me off my feet. I took a few left hooks. But, you know, I never felt better. I mean, I'd never taken like significant leg kick damage like I did in that fight, but it didn't really faze me. You know, I was ready to go, and I'm super thrilled that, like, doing that I think it was 6 to 8 months we've been working together, because I had a fight, and then I had a head injury that I got pulled out of it, and then you never know how it's going to work in a fight, you know, 100%. Because you're like, you know, you're doing it, and you're putting in the mental practice and stuff, and you're like, is this going to work? And then when it does, you're like, wow, like, there really is a huge mental piece of this, you know, like, obviously it's talked about, but is it really understood is the other thing. So I was really glad that I got to have that experience where, you know, I got to do my thing, you know, and have fun with it.
I think dealing with anxiety is a skill on its own, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something you have to train, man. That's why a lot of us fall apart, because we don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's just breaking those norms. Like, I remember when I first met with Doc, I said to him, I was I remember I said, I know that I'm always going to have nerves like right before the fight, and that's normal. And he just looks at me and he goes, why do you feel like you have to? And I was like, I never really thought about it that way. I was just told that that's normal and that I have to. And you know, ever since I kind of had that perspective, like, you can change these things. You can be excited like right before a fight and feel like great. And it makes me think, like, I really saw it play out when I went to Clay's last fight. We went up there, we were Tyler and Slade, and Slade had fought right before, and I was coming out with Clay to corner him with Tyler, and Tyler wasn't out there yet, and I was super nervous, and Clay was the main event, and I remember just looking at him like, I don't know where Tyler is, and he was just like,
Clay Matza is who we're talking about.
Yeah, and like, just like the demeanor he had was just like, wow, this dude is legit, you know, like, and he just was amazing out there, you know. So that
when
was
I cornered Khabib, man, like, when I first got into the business, it was also the most interesting thing to observe, especially at that high level, man. Like, I was backstage with him and doing all these things, and just his demeanor and he's like, there's only 2 ways it can go, and I'm ready for either one. It's like, I lose, I win, man. It's all in God's hand, man. It just, you can't do it and not love it. It's like, what's the point of you doing it and making a career out of it if you're fucking terrified and you're scared and you know, like, when I grapple, like, I'm in heaven, man. Like, yes, you get that anxiety like before a tournament. Like, I remember I used to compete, and I just did one not too long ago. It's like, yeah, you get that, but I think just the fact of getting ready for something and having a goal and putting your skills on display is kind of very reassuring, especially when you win. Because, like, okay, you know what, everything I've been learning, everything I've did works, because obviously I just proved it, you know, to myself, for the most part, and then to everyone else.
I agree 100%. So. I think like I kind of had all of those things play out in this fight, you know, because I'd been putting a lot of strength and conditioning work and kind of new things that I had changed that I didn't know how were going to play out. I think the one fight I did lose, I was fighting for like a amateur kickboxing title in New England, and I remember I never fought a 5-round fight before. We were in the 4th. I remember sitting on the stool and I just broke myself. I was like, I'm so tired. I'm in big trouble. And it was over at that point, you know. And
I think that's where you got to be able to turn the switch.
Exactly.
And turn it,
And this time, like, I had that other fight in Thailand, and I just remembered just telling myself, no matter what, I'm not going to get tired. I'm good. But, even though I felt a little de-energized, I didn't really do the mental I wasn't working with Doc yet. But this time, like, it was probably the highest pace first round, because even though we weren't moving super fast, like, big things were being thrown, like big leg kicks. I went over the top rope, but I wasn't even tired in the first round. Like, I didn't even want to sit on the stool. I was like, I'm good. They were like trying to get me to sit down. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna breathe. Like, so it was like seeing those things play out.
Now you know that's how you have to be at every fight.
And I remember the feeling is what's great, because a lot of the thing is being able to bring yourself back there. But I remember that feeling so vividly and just straightforward that it makes me more confident and excited to move forward. You know, so
that's cool.
Mark, you're an incredible asset to the team. You're very quiet when you came in, I remember, and you've really
thank you.
Your personality's come out, and everyone seems to really be attracted to your energy, and that's a good thing.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you.
So we appreciate that you signed up for the team way back when, even though in the old days, invite only, you would never have been part of the team.
No, definitely not. Like I said,
that opportunity.
I was lucky.
And check this out. Even to get back to it, it is still an invite only gym. It's not like you can walk in. I have a process. You have to have martial arts experience. You can't just walk in and not know anything. You know, so we have a process that you go on the website and you submit your application and you list everything, video highlights, things like that. So it's not like anyone walks in and just goes for it. No.
Or they might sneak in. People might sneak in, because there's definitely some people that have snuck in, and we've been doing striking practice, and I say jab, and they look at me like, what?
Oh, well,
but they must be sneaking.
Well, if some people sneak.
I'm with you.
Please point those people out.
I will.
Please.
But I understand what you're saying.
We don't want anyone getting hurt.
Yeah, I try to keep because
But no, I hear you. It's good that there's and like I said, I agree. You know, I'm super fortunate that, I remember when I got that email, I was shocked. Like, the real plan was I was going to get something that was like, you know, you have very minimal experience. We want to see like maybe 2 amateur fights or this or that. But when I got it, and they're like, you know what, when you said you can come for a trial, see how you do, and then we'll talk and you can maybe stay.
2 years later, here you are.
Yeah, and it was super.
I've trained all around the world too, man. I've been to some teams too. It's the same shit everywhere, bro. You get fighters, especially when there's a lot of high level UFC fighters. It attracts another crop of people, man. That just everyone deals with the same thing, and just for some reason it's not put on display as much as freaking here. I don't know why, man. It's the same fucking shit.
Absolutely.
It's like, what changed? Nothing, man. You got
Yeah.
you know, you look at some of the places, man. It's 200 people on the mat, man, at one time.
Yeah,
It's just like,
and just to
you
be,
think all of them
yeah.
are like high-level John Jones type of freaking fighters, man?
Yeah, no, and even
You know
now,
what I'm saying?
like I said, I'm still in the very beginning of this
Yeah.
process. You know, like I think,
But
like now,
you're proving yourself, though, man.
I
little by
appreciate
little,
it, you know, and I just feel like now I'm just getting the basics. Like even now, I don't think if there was the same invite-only gym, I wouldn't make it in. Truth be told, you know, but I'm just happy. Like I mean, I'm learning. It's like now I feel at a good base level, you know, and like I just have little things that I'm just going to keep growing at, and that's kind of the way, you know, everyone has their own path. And for me, if I train and, you know, work with this person and that person and able to contribute, and then for me, like there's just something cool about going in the middle of nowhere and doing something, you know.
100%. No,
it's like going without a rope.
That's a journey.
Yeah, you know, and like there's just something that's tied, and you kind of get this feeling of total freedom.
But
you know?
so you know, since you brought it up,
Yeah.
it's like there's people that come in, like, let's say, as long as you have some kind of martial arts experience, you don't have
Right.
to be a striker.
Right.
But if you have a good ground,
I see what you're
that's
saying.
that's what I'm referring
Sure.
to, because
You have to have
like,
something to
same thing
contribute.
with your grappling, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what would you say about your grappling?
Oh,
you know?
not
if I
good.
would if I would grapple with you,
No,
like,
yeah.
this guy don't belong here. But
Oh,
then you
for sure.
But you
Yeah.
knock everyone out. So this is what I'm referring to in amateur MMA program. As long as you have some kind of martial arts experience that we can build on,
Right.
you have to have some kind of base. You know, you can just walk in and say, yeah, I street fought like 2 times and I won. I consider
I see what
myself
you're
good.
saying. Yeah,
You know,
my grappling is not.
so
up to
you
par.
know, if you grappled for a year, you know, like
Right.
okay, you know, I think, you know, and you like send me and I competed Naga and you won grappler's quest, bro. You gave me your belt.
Yeah, I
You
did.
won grappler's
That was
quest.
like 10 years ago.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You've done it, right? So you're
Yeah.
comfortable on the mats. I know
Yeah.
that, you know. So
But at this level,
so,
definitely, there's a lot of
you
work
know,
that needs to be done.
exactly.
Yeah.
But when, you know, even when we roll, I
Yeah.
try to point out certain things, help each
Yeah.
other out. Like I know every guy and what he needs to work on, bro. Trust me. I roll with everyone.
Yeah.
And I see
No,
how they
it's-
strike, I see their weaknesses, I see things like that.
I
And I
remember.
communicate it to coaches too.
Yeah.
And I know what you need to do to work on. And that's
Absolutely.
on top of you and on you already if you
Yeah.
want to take that step and go forward and work on it, like hire
Yeah.
a coach and then constantly, or like you say, hey, your grappling is bad, but then I never see you at the grappling practice. So
Yeah.
that's like
Agreed.
okay, who can you blame for that?
100%.
Who are you gonna blame for that?
Yeah.
You know, say you know you're gonna be an MMA fighter. You know grappling is the most crucial
Yeah.
thing you need to work on. Grappling, wrestling. Yeah, you have a hell of a crazy kicker and puncher,
Yeah.
a striker.
Yeah.
You know, but
And still, you know, still in the beginning, you know, and I can't
100%,
wait to keep growing with it, you know.
100%.
But I agree that the grappling needs to be improved.
and I'm willing to help anyone
Yeah.
too, man.
No, I
so it's
appreciate
not
it. Yeah,
like-
I know. I've been seeing that you've been doing some teaching some of the grappling classes.
Yeah,
which is-
basics. Yeah,
Yeah.
basic. Greg asked
I
me
sh-
to,
I sh- I
man.
sh- I
Like
should
it's not
go.
like I'm, like, not like I have gazillion other jobs to do, but like, you know. I
Well,
try
on
to
that,
help.
we're gonna do a couple shout outs to
Well, one shout out. Let me do
know,
for the. Do you see our sauna?
Yeah.
yes,
How badass is that?
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
surround sound.
It's got TV,
Bad things, badass.
YouTube. You
It's
can
good for the
play
late night
What's
work.
the name of that company?
Fit Bomb. Yeah,
Fit Bomb.
Fit Bomb sauna, man.
Fit
It's
Bomb Sauna. So Fit
It's-
Bomb Sauna. Thank
Thank you so much.
so much. It's an incredible asset to the team. You guys have been posting videos.
infrared. You can work out
Yeah.
in there. It's got seats in there. You can fold them. You can do yoga. You can do so many different things. Shadow
I've never
bugs.
seen anything like it.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
pretty cool, man. That thing is about like very expensive. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
very expensive.
Yeah,
Big-
when
big-
you guys
big
put up
shout
on the
out.
page, I thought it was going to be like one of those like portable hut
It looks
ones.
small. Yeah,
And then I
kinda-
saw it, and I was like, well, I didn't see a picture of it at first. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be like one of those like they're like a
Cheesy
single
little-
Yeah,
Yeah.
They make those too. They have solo.
Yeah.
They have call them
Yeah,
solo
this
ones.
thing's huge. Yeah, I've saw that.
And we got our ice machine there. You can do ice bath. You know, and
remember
you
the
can
ice
jump in.
baths.
You got showers. You know,
Yeah.
perfect spot for it too, man.
Absolutely.
Like it's a big asset.
Shout out also to Body Armor, keeping us nice and hydrated.
Yeah, I gotta go use the
for the
restroom like that.
podcast.
Just-
Fire
just
Team
killed
Fit. Fire Team Fit doing a great job promoting or selling their belts and
They just came out with actually
weightlifting
cool knee braces,
Yes.
and I'm gonna start selling them in the store downstairs.
Cool.
So very nice brace. I'm gonna
They
grapple
have
with them
those
today.
foam rulers too that are good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
the belts are good. I have a belt.
Results RNA started their CBD recently. It's
There's one for you.
I actually I have a friend
Need to
that
get
does a
those.
lot of yoga and jiu-jitsu, and she's been using that CBD and says nothing but good stuff about it. So shout out to those guys for that. Dr. Bo dropped off this cool Bruce Buffer MMA bobbleheads.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They sent us this little guy that's pretty cool. So thanks, guys, for sending us your little presents and stuff for us to help make the show run. And thanks, Mark, especially for being part of the team and being part of this podcast.
I really appreciate you guys having me.
I know we kind of went off the.
You know,
I'm
all cool. I love arguing. Stuff, I love arguing. It's no problem.
And you're good at it, but we do appreciate you.
What shall we argue with?
That looks cool. See, now Holly's Bruce Buffer's calling out Holly over here.
That's how we should have it.
I like that. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Next week we'll be back with another show, and see you soon.
Thank you, Mark. Keep on rocking on, man.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Through these doors walk the greatest fighters in the world.